Say you're trying to decipher a medieval Hebrew manuscript, regular everyday activity for most of us, and the manuscript's author is unknown to you. You want to know where this guy lived and in what era. How can you figure it out? Well, one clue that linguists use is through deeper grammatical analysis. Since Hebrew was always a spoken language, but in the diaspora was usually secondary to another everyday spoken language, every Jewish diasporic community spoke Hebrew slightly differently. So this isn't 100% foolproof, but if there are a lot of Arabic loanwords in the Hebrew text, that's a clue that the author was probably from an Arabic-speaking country. But what if they're using pure Hebrew vocabulary? Sometimes there's a grammatical clue. For example, let's say your Hebrew manuscript has two forms of you, one familiar and one respectful. That would be really unusual because Hebrew doesn't make that distinction. But Spanish does, with tu and usted, and Persian does, with to and shoma. That's a clue that the person writing this Hebrew was probably a speaker of a language that makes that distinction. Here's a concrete example from Iran. David ben Benjamin HaKohen of Khansar was a rabbi from the 16 and 1700s who wrote extensively in Hebrew. While he's clearly a very well-educated and proficient thinker and writer, his Hebrew has this weird feature. He keeps mixing up the male and female forms. Does that mean he wasn't very smart? No. It means that while he spoke Hebrew, his Hebrew was influenced by Persian, Judeo-Khansari, and whatever other local Iranian languages he might have spoken. You see, the Iranian branch of the Indo-Iranian languages has no gender. There is no distinction between he and she, much less between male and female nouns and verbs, like in Hebrew. And we see this all the time in language acquisition. Persians constantly mix up he and she in English, and it's not them being progressive. It's because the distinction doesn't matter or even exist in their native language. It's the same reason that Chinese people often have trouble with verb conjugation in English. I eat, you eat, he eats. Because Mandarin, in all its glory, lacks that kind of verb conjugation. And English speakers speaking Romance or Semitic languages, forget about it. Way too much verb conjugation and gender in those languages for an English speaker to be able to wrap their head around easily. So next time you're deciphering a diasporic manuscript from hundreds of years ago, keep an eye out for weird grammar. It might be a bigger clue than you realize.